बचपना है, इट इज टू इमेच्योर। आपको पढ़ना चाहिए जो फिलोसफिकल पॉइंट, इसके क्या डिस्कवरी है, क्या आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है और क्या अप्लाई करोगे, ये वेयर इज देयर, हु इज कंडक्टिंग द क्लास, तब तो आपको उसका बेनिफिट मिलेगा। और अगर आपको संस्कृत पढ़ना है बहुत अच्छा है, तो वर्ड मीनिंग से पढ़ने का प्रयास करिए। अभी हम प्रयास करेंगे। डायरेक्ट संस्कृत आप पढ़ ही नहीं सकते, मैं ही नहीं पढ़ सकता, मेरे लिए संभव नहीं है, एटलीस्ट मैं तो नहीं पढ़ सकता। अगर आप पंडित हो गए हो तो बात अलग है। क्योंकि अगर आपने एक बार भी गलत प्रैक्टिस शुरू में पकड़ ली ना, फिर उसको करेक्ट करना पॉसिबल नहीं होगा, फिर वो गलती प्रैक्टिस चलती रहेगी। मेरा निवेदन ये है कि अगर बहुत अच्छा है आप लोग पहले ज्वाइन कर लेते हैं, तो जो हमने डिस्कस किया है उससे आपको जो इंस्पिरेशन मिली है, पहली बात तो जो इंफॉर्मेशन मिली, क्या डिस्कवरी है वो डिस्कस करिए। फिर क्या अंडरस्टैंडिंग डेवलप हुई वो डिस्कस करिए। अभी जैसे हमने कल पढ़ा, तो क्या सबसे ज्यादा स्ट्राइकिंग एस्पेक्ट था नारद मुनि की लाइफ से, जिसको नारद मुनि की लाइफ को जानने का प्रयास करे थे शिला व्यास थे। तो सबसे इंस्पिरेशनल पार्ट क्या था, कल हमने एटलीस्ट 4-5 वर्सेस डिस्कस किया। आई थिंक फ्रॉम 4 to 10 or 11 वी डिस्कस। व्हाट डिड वी डिस्कवर फ्रॉम द लाइफ ऑफ नारद मुनि? व्हाट इज द इंस्पिरेशन एंड व्हाट इज द इंस्ट्रक्शन? ये डिस्कस करना चाहिए, दैट विल बेनिफिट अस। व्यासदेव क्यों ये पूछ रहे हैं, क्यों भागवतम का जो फाउंडेशन है उसके पार्ट में नारद मुनि की स्टोरी को इनकॉर्पोरेट कर रहे हैं? अब देखिए ना, ये कितना इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट है। हाउ डिड भागवतम स्टार्टेड?
Started.
उस एस्पेक्ट में नारद मुनि का जो वृतांत है उसका प्रेजेंटेशन है। तो उसे हमारे लिए क्या लर्निंग है, क्या इंस्पिरेशन है, क्या इंस्ट्रक्शन है? मैं एक
At
आपको
the
नहीं कह रहा, सबके लिए कह रहा हूँ। हमें ये डिस्कस करना चाहिए। गलत तरीके से श्लोक पढ़ने से क्या होगा? ठीक है, तो मेरा निवेदन यही है कि आप लोग बहुत अच्छा है, आप करिए तो हमेशा है। ददाति प्रति गिन्नाति, भूय्यम आख्याति पृच्छति। लेकिन अगर जैसा बताया वैसा करेंगे तो आपको उसका लाभ मिलेगा। आप मनमानी तरीके से करेंगे तो। मंगलाचरण हो गया?
Yes, sir.
So what we discussed yesterday from the life and character of Srila Narad Muni. Yeah, may I ask you, yeah, Pradeep Prabhu, what was most striking from what we have discussed in this 6th chapter so far? What has really inspired you or touched you so far? Speak. You have discussed first 10 verses. Let's take a little review before we go further. Can you hear me or not?
Yes, Lord.
Can speak?
Continuously hearing the glories of the Supreme Lord.
Come again. Noises. From these 10 verses, I'm asking you, what inspired you? Why you are taking so long, wasting time? We are already late.
Probably Narada Muni continues, he engaged in continuously hearing the glories of the Supreme Lord. Uh,
How is he hearing? The Bhaktivedanta left him, na? After giving him the knowledge, they left. This is this chapter is speaking. This is what the question was. That after the Bhaktivedantas left, what did you do? What are you speaking? This is what Vasudev inquired. But what did you do after the departure of the great sages who had instructed you in scientific transcendental knowledge? So you were saying he continued to hear. How could he hear when they left? You are not in tune. I'm sorry to say you are completely out of tune. You don't know what is happening. Who else? Yes, Sonika.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, yesterday you discussed that whosoever is dear to Krishna, or whosoever Krishna is giving mercy, he just take away his wealth or whatever is dear to him. So similarly, in case of Narad Muni, he was the only son of his mother, and in very early age his mother was dead, means he was taken back. So he was bound with the love and affection of his mother only. That was the only foundation for Narada Muni. So that was taken away. So it was discussed yesterday, Prabhuji.
Yes. Krishna is a special intervention. It is not in everyone's life. It is a very rare case. And what was the intervention? That whatever material affection he had on the bodily attachment with his mother, it was cut. And how did Narada Muni respond to it? That child of 5 years, how did he respond? Pradeep, what was the response of Narada Muni? What was the response of Narada Muni? Stable nahi hai. I am not able to hear you also. Are you able to hear me? Voice is not clear. Okay, I'll join again. Give me a moment. I will join again. I will join from the mobile phone. Is it better now? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Prabhuji, now it's okay.
No, but the voice is cracking. I will join again. One moment. Can you hear now? Please reply.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji, now it's okay.
Clear.
Okay. I don't know. Pradeep, why you want? Okay, I'll move forward.
Can others hear, Prabhuji? I can't hear.
His life in depressive mode. I took it as a nice that and where he moved, he passed through many flourishing cities, villages, farms, natural land, valleys, flower gardens. Hare Krishna. So Narad Muni is traveling north, and where he passes through citra-dhātu-vicitrādrīn, ibha-bhagna-bhuja-drumān, jalāśayān, chiva-jalān, nalinīḥ sura-sevitāḥ, citra-svanaiḥ patra-rathaiḥ, vibhramad bhramara-śriyaḥ. Very beautiful description is given about the countryside, how he went into those areas where there were citra-dhātu. Dhatu means minerals, and citra-dhātu means many very, very variant and very valuable minerals. What are the valuable minerals? Like gold, silver, and others, coppers. Vicitra, dhatu is gold, silver, and vicitra is full of variegatedness. And adrīn is the hill. Like we say, Niladri or Sheshadri. Adri means hill. Anyone remembers? That is very beautiful glorification of Govardhan. Govardhan hill. It is also Adri. Anyone remembers the verse of glorification of Giriraj Govardhan? Hantayam adrir abala haridasa varyo. Hantayam adrir. Adrir means hill. So he passed through those areas which were having mines. This was filled with mountains. And he went through those places where the branches of the trees were broken by the giant elephants. Ibha-bhagna-bhuja-drumān. Drumān means the tree, and bhuja means the branches, and ibha-bhagna means were broken by giant elephants. And there were very many reservoirs. jalāśayān, chiva-jalān. There were jalāśayān, chiva-jalān, reservoirs of water. In those reservoirs of water, what was there? It was nalina sura-sevitāḥ. Nalina, nalin. Nalin means the flower, lotus flower. And what kind of lotus flower? Which is bluish. Anyone who has seen a blue lotus flower? That is nalin. Anyone has seen? I have seen. I have seen a blue lotus in Mayapur.
Mayapur.
Yeah, in Mayapur I saw the blue lotus blossoming there. Actually, that is the place where lotuses blossom. So, this description is given here of nalinīḥ and sura-sevitāḥ. Sura-sevitāḥ, sura means the demigod and sevita means worship. So, these flowers were so extraordinary flowers that they were aspired by the denizens of heaven. And citra-svanaiḥ patra-rathair. It was this entire atmosphere, the surroundings, the ambience. It was so pure, it was so pristine, it was so attractive, it was pleasing to the heart. And on top of that, there was vibhramad, bhramara-śriyaḥ. Bhramara means the humming, that sound was there. So I passed through hills and mountains full of reservoirs of various minerals like gold, silver, and copper. Why it is being told here? Why this description is given? That see the focus and the concentration of Narad Muni. He was not distracted. Although there were reservoirs which were full with gold and silver. So he was not distracted by opulence or wealth. And through the tract of land were reservoirs of water filled with beautiful lotus flowers, fit for the denizens of heaven. It was so pleasing, it was so appealing that even the denizens of heaven would want to be in that place. And decorated with bewildered bees and singing birds. So it was very intoxicating. It was very attractive. But still Narad Muni, he did not stop. He moved on. He moved on to achieve his mission of life. And as he moved in, he went into even more dense area, even more dense forest. Nalavenu sarastambha kushaki-chaka ghavaram eka eva tiyato aham adraksham vipinam mahat ghoram prati bhayakaram Ghoyam prati abhayakaram vyaluloka shivarjiram. Then I passed through many forests of rushes, bamboo, reeds, sharp grass, weeds, and caves. So all of it is mentioned here. That he went into even more dense places, which were very difficult to go through alone. And how was he traveling? Did he have a team or a companion? No, all alone. Just imagine, 5-year-old child going into such dense forest. It was difficult to go. I visited deep, dark, and dangerous, fearful forest, which were the play yards of snakes, owls, and jackals. The word used here is abhayam. Where is it? Pratibhaya abhakaram. Pratibhaya akaram. It was dangerous. But in his heart, because he was saturated with the transcendental knowledge, there is no question of any fear. He fearlessly moved. He fearlessly traveled. It is the duty of a mendicant, parivajaka-charya, to experience all varieties of God's creation by traveling alone through all forests, hills, towns, villages, etc., to gain faith in God. This is the purpose of his travel, is to gain faith in God. Parivrajaka-charya, when we say Mangalacharan, or when we offer our obeisances and respect to our acharyas, we say Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhans Parivajaka-charya Ashtotar Shat Srimad. So it's Parivajaka-charya. Parivajaka-charya means one who travels and preaches all over the world. Vraja, you know what is the meaning of word Vraja? Anyone? What is the meaning of word Vraja? Gopi Gita, the word comes, Jayati te dhikam janmana vraja. Or Krishna says, Mamekam sharanam vraja. What does vraja mean? Yes, Dayashil Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. To move, Prabhuji, to move.
Yes.
Movement.
Yes, movement. So vraja means which is always moving. So spiritual life is always dynamic, it is not static. There is always movement. That is why Prabhupada created the Krishna consciousness movement. So he moved on without fear, without any trace of fear in his heart. How? Because he had faith, and by his movement, he instilled that faith further deeper in his heart. To gain faith in God and strength of mind, as well as to enlighten the inhabitant with the message of God. A sannyas, so this is the first quality of a Parivajaka-charya, means he is in the renounced order. He is a sannyasi. And what is the first quality or the first feature of one being a sannyasi? The first feature is abhayam. Abhayam sattvam samshuddhi. 16th chapter, Krishna gives the divine qualities. And in the divine qualities, the first quality he mentions is abhayam sattvam samshuddhi jnana yoga vyavasthiti, is fearlessness. I remember a few years back when the first sannyasi candidate from our temple, he was just to receive sannyas. Before sannyas, he was sharing with me, His Holiness Bhakti Rakshak Raghav Maharaj, that he was asked before sannyas to go and travel. And he had to travel to South America. South America is also very, very dense in forest. So many reservoirs of water. Exactly, I mean, what description we are finding. So Maharaj was telling me that once he had to cross a big river, I think it was Amazon or something like that, and he had to cross through a motorboat. And there were so many deadly sharks and all in that water. Very big risk. And he told me many times we landed in the midnight, no place to go. So all this, why it is all done? Why the travel is there for a renunciate, is to instill faith in his heart deeper. That under any situation, he has to depend on Krishna. And Krishna will certainly protect him. They should go out. Go out in those areas, unexplored area, adventurous areas, uncertain areas, where you don't know where you will stay, where you will eat. We go for a yatra, all bogus. Everything is 100 times first ensured. रहने की जगह मिली है या नहीं, पहले से चाहिए, लिखा हुआ चाहिए, खाली बोलने से काम नहीं चलेगा। जाने पे नहीं मिला तो क्या होगा, कहाँ रुकेंगे? हाँ? प्रसाद नहीं मिला तो क्या होगा, कहाँ खाएंगे? That shows there is no faith, hardly any faith. The dependence is not there. And so this elevated soul, like Sripad Madhvacharya, he left the home, he took sannyas. What age did Madhvacharya took sannyas? Who remembers? Sripad Madhvacharya, he took sannyas at the age of
80.
And this is what these acharyas do. As soon as they take sannyas, they travel. They leave everything. And they travel fearlessly. You see in the life of Ramanujacharya, you see in the life of Sripad Madhvacharya, even Shankaracharya, very young age. At 10 or 12, they took sannyas. And they move so fearlessly. Any one of us will not dare to go to the forest, even now. And what Narad Muni is telling Vyasadeva, that those forests were so dense that it was almost inaccessible. But the purpose is to instill faith. A sannyasi is duty bound to take all this risk without fear. And the most typical sannyasi of the present age is Lord Chaitanya. This is Lord Chaitanya did. After taking sannyas, what did Lord Chaitanya do? 6 years he traveled. Gamana Gamana Lila. 6 Vatsara. For 6 years, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu traveled. How much he traveled? He traveled entire South India. 6 years he kept on traveling. He traveled to Vrindavan, he traveled to Gaudadesh, and for 6 years he was traveling. So many times some devotees, they don't take sannyas. Why? Because as soon as they have to take sannyas, they will have to travel. And where they will have to travel? Not in those places where Krishna consciousness is already established. They are asked to go in those places where Krishna consciousness is not properly established. In very interior place, in very remote places, where there are no devotees, where there are no temples, where there is no support. Then what? You have to completely depend on Krishna. You have to beg, pray, be completely on the causeless mercy of Krishna. And we are very severely tested. Very, very severely tested in our faith and in our commitment both. So, Narad Muni at the age of 5, he passed the test. Who traveled in the same manner through the central Indian jungles, enlightening even the tigers, bears, snakes, deer, elephants, and many other jungle animals. How many of you have read this biography? In this age of Kali, sannyas is forbidden for ordinary men. This is the reason sannyas is forbidden. Why? Because one hardly has any faith. in the Supreme Lord, nor is he dependent on the Supreme Lord. One who changes his dress to make a propaganda is a different man from the original ideal sannyasi. One should, however, take the vow to stop social intercourse completely and devote life exclusively to the service of the Lord. So Prabhupada has explained in one of his lectures to Bhagavad Gita that what it means to be a sannyasi or what it means to take sannyas. Anyone remembers what it means to take sannyas? And Prabhupada says everyone should take sannyas. What it means to, what does the word sannyasi means? Anyone remembers? It is a combination of two words, sat and nyas. So sat means the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. So one connects or one attaches with the supreme personality of Godhead. And nyas means to take renunciation or be renounced. So he is completely renounced from that which is not connected to the Supreme. That is what Prabhupada is saying in the purport. Prabhupada is mentioning here that one should, however, take the vow to stop social intercourse completely. That is nyas, completely renounced. And devote life exclusively to the service of the Lord. That is sat. That is sannyasi. The change of dress is only a formality. Lord Chaitanya did not accept the name of a sannyasi. He remained Krishna Chaitanya. And in this age of Kali, the so-called sannyasi should not change their former names, following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya. In this age, devotional service of hearing and repeating the holy glories of the Lord is strongly recommended. And one who takes the vow of renunciation of family life need not imitate the Parivarajaka like Narad or Lord Chaitanya, but may sit down at the same holy place and devote his whole time and energy to hear and repeatedly chant the holy scriptures left by the great acharyas like the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. There is a very beautiful verse where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that everyone should take sannyas. Yeah, this is the verse. Are you able to see this screen? Yes, no?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay. So as you all know, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Agraja, elder brother, is Vishwarup, and Vishwarup took sannyas. And after Vishwarup took sannyas, Mother Sachi and Jagannath Mishra, they were completely heartbroken, devastated. So little Nimai is consoling them. And he speaks this verse, very beautiful verse. This is in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela 15:14. He says, Bhala haila Vishwarupa sannyas karila pitrakula matrakula dui udharila. My dear mother and father, the Lord said, it is very good that Vishwarup had accepted the sannyas order. This is how he is consoling. They are crying. And this is what Mahaprabhu is speaking. For thus he has delivered both his father's family and his mother's family. If one is actually in the sannyas order, what he does? Pitrakul matrakul dui udharila. The Prabhupada talks about sannyas in this. So in this age of Kali, 5 things are disapproved. And one of them is not to take sannyas. Ashwamedham gavalambham sannyasam palapetrakam devarena sutopatam galau pancha vivarjayet. So 5 things which are forbidden. One is the sannyas. Why sannyas is not allowed? Sannyas is not allowed simply because one does not detach from matter, and secondly, one does not connect with spirit, the Supreme Spirit, Sat. So it is not recommended. It is not suggested to take sannyas. But in the case of Narad Muni, we see he took sannyas. And he continues to travel and preach. At the age of 5, he was fearlessly traveling. Even he went to the most dense forest, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After taking sannyas, he went to the most dense forest. Here Prabhupada is saying what is most important in the age of Kali, devotional service of hearing and repeating the holy glories of the Lord is strongly recommended. And one who takes the vow of renunciation of family life need not imitate the Paribhajakacharyas, like Narada and Chaitanya, but sit down at the same holy place and devote his whole time and energy to hear and repeatedly chant the holy scriptures left by the great acharyas, like the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. Parishanta indriyatmaham tatparito bubhukshita snatva pitva hide nadiye upasparshta gata ashrama. Thus traveling, I felt tired, both bodily and mentally, and I was both thirsty and hungry. So I took a bath in the river lake and also drank water. By contacting water, I got relief from my exhaustion. A traveling mendicant can meet the needs of the body, namely thirst and hunger, by the gift of nature without being a beggar at the door of the householders. The mendicant therefore does not go to the house of a householder to beg, but to enlighten him spiritually. Tasmin nirmune jeranye pipalo upavasta ashrita atmana atmanam atmastham yathashrutam achintayam. After that, under the shadow of a banyan tree in an inhabited forest, I began to meditate upon the Supreme situated within, using my intelligence as I had learned from liberated souls. Yathashrutam achintayam. How did he meditate? Achintayan is meditation. Thought over. Thought over means meditation. What he was doing. So how he did that? Yathashrutam. As he had heard, or how he was instructed. Not on his own. You see, in the outside world, people very loftily speak of the character of Eklavya. You know Eklavya? All of you know Eklavya. But our acharyas completely condemn him and reject him. There are 2 approaches. One is the spiritual approach, and that approach is the approach of Arjuna. What is Arjuna's approach? Karishye vachanam tava. I will do whatever you will ask me or direct me to do. And what is the Eklavya approach? It is independent approach or rebellious approach. When he was told not to learn archery, he denied and defied the order of his spiritual master. That is Dronacharya. And in spite of his repeatedly telling him not to take up the profession of archery, he took it up on his own. Why? Because he was not qualified. He was not qualified. So we should give up the Eklavya approach. How Narada's approach is the Arjuna approach. Is it? Yatha Shruti Anuchinten. As he had been instructed, as he heard, accordingly he acted. I began to meditate upon the super soul situated within using my intelligence as I had learned from the living great souls, not independently. Prabhupada is talking about this. One should not meditate according to one's personal whims. One should know perfectly well from the authoritative sources of scriptures through the transparent medium of a bona fide spiritual master, and by proper use of one's trained intelligence for meditating upon the super soul dwelling within every living being. The consciousness is firmly developed by a devotee who has rendered loving service unto the Lord by carrying out the orders of the spiritual master. Very important. That what is the rendering of loving devotional service? Through the process of carrying out the orders of the spiritual master. Shri Naraji contacted bona fide spiritual masters. What are the bona fide spiritual masters Narad Muni contacted? Those four Bhakti Vedantas. Served them sincerely. Who remember the verse? 2 days back we did the verse. What is the verse? In context of what we are discussing in the life of Narad Muni. What was the verse? Ādau Guru Pādāśraya. Then what was the next step? What was the next step? First is to come in association and take shelter. Ādau Guru Pādāśraya. Then what was the next step? And we discussed 2 days back from Chaitanya Charitamrita. What was the next step?
Initiation and serve that.
Sorry?
To take initiation and serve.
Yes. To take initiation and yes, Manusur Prabhu, what is and?
Serving them.
Yes. Yes. It is Diksha Guru Sevani. So this is most important. This is what has happened in the life of Narad Muni. By proper use of one's trained intelligence for meditating upon the super soul dwelling within every living being, this consciousness is firmly developed by a devotee who has rendered loving service unto the Lord by carrying out the orders of his spiritual master. Shri Naraji contacted bona fide spiritual masters, served them sincerely, and got enlightenment rightly. Thus he began to meditate. I'll stop here. We covered 4 verses. Yes, any discussion? Yes, Sonika?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, as you mentioned that Narad Muni took sannyas at very early age after departure of Paramatma. So, Prabhuji, he took sannyas without in guidance of any spiritual master.
I just, deliberated on the word sannyas. What is sannyas?
Yes, Prabhuji. Sat plus Nyash means Nyash means leaving all the material things and activities, and Sat means devoted completely 100% to with the loving devotion service of Supreme Lord.
And what is Prabhupada is speaking in the purport? Prabhupada is saying, who is a sannyasi?
Who is following these both? They are sannyasi.
Prabhupada says it is not a change of dress. It is not just a ritual. It is the consciousness. And Prabhupada says in one of his purport that everyone should take sannyas. Prabhupada is saying everyone should take sannyas. That means it is including for women. And then we also see that in Kali Yuga, sannyas is forbidden. Then how to reconcile it? Prabhupada says one who changes his dress to make propaganda is a different man from the original ideal sannyasi. So did he do something whimsical? As soon as he received the transcendental knowledge, he was already in that consciousness. He became a sannyasi. And like a sannyasi, he traveled. And he propagated the mission of the Supreme Lord. So what you are asking about is only the change of dress or the ritual. But sannyas is not either change of dress or ritual, it is the spiritual consciousness. That is why sannyas is banned in Kali Yuga, because people do not have that consciousness. But Narad Muni had that consciousness. So he was already a sannyasi. Are you getting?
Yes, Prabhuji, clear now.
Yeah. Just few years back, I was interviewed by our sannyas committee, not for me, don't take it otherwise. It was the other devotees who were candidates for sannyas. So they asked me about one candidate, I will not name him, my god brother. So I clearly told him he is already a sannyasi. Whatever is the activity of a sannyasi, I see him doing for last 10 years. So they all started to, smile and appreciate. Well, yes, we know. So you are convinced? I said, yeah. I said, everybody is convinced. He is doing the role of a sannyasi. This is what the sannyasi does. So whether you get the sannyas order formally or not, but if you do the activity, you are, that is what Krishna is speaking. See, very beautiful verse, 6.1. Open the verse. Ge saryat sannyasi yena dveshti na kanshati. 6.1. Krishna is saying, Ge sa nitya sannyasi. That person is eternally in the sannyas order. Who? Ge sa nitya sannyasi yena dveshti na kanshati. Now, this is 6.1 is Anashita Karma. This is also about sannyas, but what I am saying is Ge Sanitya Sannyasi. I think it is in the 5th chapter. It is 5.3. Ge Sanitya Sannyasi. Yona Dveshti na Kankshati. 5.3. Both are related to sannyas. First we will see the 5.3 and then we will see 6.1. That who is actually sannyasi and one who is not a sannyasi. Yeah. So Krishna says, Ge Sanitya Sannyasi. Yona dveshti na kankshati nirdvando hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. That Arjuna, you should know that person. Come down to the translation. That one who neither hates nor desires for the fruits. Yona dveshti na kankshati is known to be always renounced. That is the Geya means that you should know. And he is what kind of sannyasi? Nitya sannyasi. He is always renounced. Such a person is free from dualities. Nirdvanda hi mahabaho. Easily overcomes material bondage. Bandhat. He is completely liberated. Almighty Armed Arjuna. Prabhupada says one who is fully in Krishna consciousness is always a renouncer because he feels neither hatred nor desire for the result. Such a renouncer dedicated to the transcendental loving service of the Lord is fully qualified in knowledge because he knows his constitutional position in relation to with Krishna. So such a person is always in sannyas. This is what Prabhupada is meaning when he says that everyone should take sannyas. That what one should become? One should become Krishna conscious. Who is a sannyasi? One who is fully Krishna conscious. What does fully Krishna conscious mean? That he knows his constitutional position, he knows the constitutional position of Krishna, and he fosters that relationship by rendering pure devotional service. Hare Krishna. I'll stop, it is getting late, it is 9:30. I'll stop here. We have not understood Bhagavad Gita. We hardly know anything about Bhagavad Gita. Everything is there with complete clarity, conviction in Bhagavad Gita. There is nothing outside Bhagavad Gita. Wherever scripture we may take, whatever we may read, whatever we may study, or boast to tell others that we are studying this or that. But everything, the foundation is there in Bhagavad Gita. Okay? So the Krishna consciousness movement is meant for what? Krishna consciousness movement is meant for creating sannyasis. If one is in Krishna consciousness movement, he must be a sannyasi. Whether he is in male body or female body does not matter. Hare Krishna. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंद। हरि हरि।